Right. So good evening, everybody, and welcome at the KASKlezing of Gert Verhoeven. So Gert Verhoeven makes drawings, sculptures, installations, and videos. And although the media diverse, there are similarities in theme and methodology. Gert associates, makes mistakes, and deliberately puts the viewer on the wrong foot. A playful ensemble in which word and image come together, question each other, and in which associations reminds us of Freudian slips of the tongue. Art historical references are plentiful, starting with the Dadaist and ending with Gert here in this room via the Belgian surrealist and Broodhaars. Coming denominator, the ego, superego, the joke, and the dream, to name a few. However, with Freud, the interpretation of the subject was central. With Gert, it is rather a resistance against that interpretation, playing hide and seek. No reference to artistic father figures, but a resistance to this with the perversities that the artist comes up with as the most important weapon. Not building further on recent art history, but misquoting it or making fun of it. Looking is central, the logic of looking and the mechanism that direct our gaze. Seeing, mistaking, and seeing again. Just as Verhoeven's work questions art and its mechanism, this lecture focus on this reading. So the reading is the topic of this lecture. Yeah, so it's this meta element that you will experience soon. And unlike other lectures, this time there is no opportunity for the viewers to ask questions afterwards, but the artist will answer some questions by Simon Delabel, the creator of KASK, where Gert Verhoeven's solo exhibition will open the 17th of April. So that's in 2 weeks, more or less. So hopefully this Q&A will fulfill your dreams and answer the questions that you have. And then now I give the word to Gert Verhoeven. Gert, welcome.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much, Godard. Thank you for coming over to my place. Normally, I was going to do this lecture in the anatomical theater, and I prepared myself a little bit for that because I like the space very much, the anatomical theater, and also for this kind of analysis or self-analysis that artists have to do nowadays. It becomes very popular that artists have to talk more than that they are doing things. So why do we artists have to talk so much lately? So I'm going to give you a little bit an introduction what we're going to talk about today. So about why artists have to talk so much. Then I will talk about 3 lectures which I like very much and which are a little bit atypical for artists. One is by Franz West in 2010 in London. The other one is by Lozano in 1974, and one of Matt Mullican. Then I will do a short teaser talking about my exhibition in KASK. And we will end with a kind of a reenactment of an interview of Broodhaars, an interview with his cat, and it will be played by the curator of the exhibition, Simon Delabel, and me. So, like I told you, I prepared a lecture for the anatomical theater, and I was thinking I'm going to put myself in the middle of the anatomical theater, and I'm going to undress myself, and I bring scalpels with me, and I'm just going to dissect myself. But luckily we had to do it by Zoom. If not, it would be too much blood. But anyway, I didn't have much time to talk about interesting lectures and why we have to talk so much lately. I will do that lecture. I prepared that lecture for Lichtekooi in Antwerp later on in the year. But why I don't like lectures? Lectures is always a kind of a one-way direction. And so I think the format for artists is, it doesn't fit for artists because like the kind of the one-way direction of giving information to a public, that's nothing an artist has to do in a kind of a way, because I think art isn't about information. Art isn't about communication. Art is about giving a kind of a sense of experience. And I think that that's why the format of a lecture or a talk is just not good enough. So in the history, there have been many other things which artists invented, which we call like performances. And maybe this is more the kind of communication or information or the way that artists like to speak instead of the one-way direction. Anyway, so now I'm going to start by lectures I like. And the first is the one by Franz. Oh, no, it's by Lozano. Okay, I made a mistake. Well, Lozano, she gave this lecture in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Where is the paper? She gave this lecture in Nova Scotia College in Halifax, which was a very, very known college at that time, because there were so many interesting people passing by. And that was in 71, and the year later she stopped making art. And I don't know if you are familiar with the work of Lozano. She did those art life pieces, and I'm going to say a couple of pieces, because what she did a show, and then she gave also that lecture, and the pieces she showed there were those written text pieces. For instance, so it was small pieces of paper, and that was the exhibitions. And I'm going to tell you some of the pieces. Stop smoking cigarette piece, the lie in bed all day and read comics piece, to get fat and lazy piece, keep your asshole virgin piece, go on and go, the throwing up piece, throw the last 12 issues of Art Forum in the air, to the general strike piece, and then finally she did that drop out piece. The lecture she gave at the same time, there was a lecture she gave, I couldn't find the lecture and what she has been talking about, but the thing I'm interested in, she did the same, she repeated the same lecture 3 times. There was one, she was sober. The second time she was stoned on marijuana, and the third time she was high on LSD. So like I told you, I didn't find what she has been talking about, but there was one sentence I could find, and that sentence is, if there is no love in the art world, I don't want anything to do with it anymore. I think it's so beautiful, because, you know, she repeated the same sentence 3 times. I mean, in different periods during the day, you know, once sober, once marijuana, one LSD, and she's the same message, and she's 3 times a different person. And this is what I like very much about that she also questions herself, you know, as an artist, speaking to an audience. And that's why I think it's a very great lecture to me. Voila. So we can go on. Do I go quick? I go quick. No? Now I'm going to talk about another lecture I really like a lot. It's a lecture of 2010, and it was in the Royal Institution of London. It was a talk lecture. I mean, I don't know exactly what's the difference. By Sarah Lucas, Franz West, Andreas Reiter Rabe, and there was also music by Philipp Quehenberger. So, like you see on the picture, everything was, there was pink, yellow. Franz West was wearing pink socks. And so, so they talked, there was a lot of beer on the table also. And then suddenly Mr. Philipp Quehenberger, he started to play music, so you couldn't hear anymore what they were talking about. But anyway, there was like, I'm going to quote, which is a kind of a reaction afterwards in a magazine, which is Schlessstroke magazine. I'm going to read what the reaction were and what the journalist said about it. Tonight's talk took the anticipated format and threw it back into the crowd. Much to the delight of many, but much to the disgust of others, two of whom were women in scarves and pearls told me in the ladies afterwards that they considered the evening as an insult to their intellect. The evening reached the climax of mixed pleasures, frustrations, and confusion when Sarah Lucas walked out saying, "I'm going to the toilet," which resulted in many people leaving. West shrugged and said to the audience, "If you don't like it, we can give you the money back." Also during the lecture, there was like, that was Sarah Lucas who said, there was one of the guy, was an Italian guy, and he got really upset and he said, "We came something to learn here from you." And Sarah like, "Oh, you came for instructions," she said. "I thought you just wanted to see us talk, to really talk and listen to some music." So it was a kind of a completely, you had those two groups of people who were really upset because the artist was not really communicating and was playing his role as talking about what his work was about. And then there was the other, the like more fancy art public who found it fantastic. But if you see very well, and if you can understand very well the work of Franz West, you know exactly that his work is never about a one direction communication. It's about a combination of different things. There is also the participation of the audience. So if there has to be a message, and if Franz West could talk about his work, then it could never fit in a kind of a format as a lecture. Voila. So this is my second lecture I like to talk about. And so third, which is a kind which I don't think is more like a kind of a performance. Why did I put that one? And it's that person. So everybody knows that this is Matt Mullican, but he talks all the time because that person. So you know that he is doing those kind of performances or lectures under hypnosis. So it goes into, I had the chance to attend one in the Anatomical Theater in Leuven, which is a very beautiful old anatomical theater. And he came there under hypnosis and he started talking about Matt Mullican, about that person. He was not talking about himself anymore. And that was very interesting because it was like, there were two of them. There was the artist, but also that person, and he could split all the time and the thing. And so it fits completely the way he communicates about his work. It fits completely with his work, if you know his work very well. So why have artists have to talk about their work so much? There has been a time that they were sitting in the studio, and sometimes later they went to a bar, not especially, and then they were just, like the things they were doing, it were visual things. And I think it's a kind of, we are obliged to go for a kind of a self-analysis in a kind of a way. And because, and we like what is art about is like to open and different meanings and open different windows and open different doors. And by putting so much attention on giving lectures nowadays, which is part also, I think, because of the academic world, which is trying to bring this this kind of format, like which, if you're like a politician or like a thing, Finally, artists, we are going to talk like politicians. This is our message, and I cannot live with that, really. Voila, that's much my opinion. It's not that I cannot talk. I'm a good talker, I think, but it's just, you know, that the format is not fits for me as an artist and for most artists. So we have to work on it. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about my exhibition. I wrote also some things about it, but I've made a mess here in the meantime. So, like Godard told me or told you that the opening in KASK will be the 17th of April, and the exhibition is called Spellbound. And I'm gonna show three kinds of work. I will show little doodles, and I will show virtual sculptures, and I will show real sculptures from stone, ropes, glass, whiskey, and wood. So, but why is it called Spellbound? Spellbound is, betoverd, if you translate it in Dutch, but it's based on a kind of a quote of Hitchcock. And so that's why I named it Spellbound. But let me first try to explain a little bit where the work is about. So I made during the years those kind of, I'm first going to talk a little bit about where I found my inspiration. I'm first going to talk about the doodles. I made during the years a lot of doodles and little sketches, and which I thought were really great ideas to realize for sculptures. But, you forget about those things. And, at the end, it was like not worse to make any sculptures of it anymore. So, but I'm a kind of a proud man. I thought it's impossible that all the energy I put in those kind of small doodles, and I thought they were really great last year. And now I found out that it's just nothing, and I forgot what it's all about. So, I gave those little doodles, which I didn't know exactly what it was. I gave them to first to a guy who's very well in putting 3D, putting three dimensions. And then from that guy, it went to somebody who's really good in 3D animation. So the little doodles, which were for me like, you know what a doodle is, it's like a kind of, like a Rorschach test in a kind of a way, which you don't know exactly what you meant with it. So I gave it like 2 steps to the other guy, and it became big, huge projections of virtual sculptures. So there will be a carousel with the doodles. There will be a carousel with the seven doodles, 7 virtual sculptures. And then I combine them with the ikebana, whiskey ikebana, I call them. And these are real sculptures. Why you will see, in fact, you will see 3 types of sculptures, and which is the most sculpture in the kind, that's you can ask, which is the most idea and which has the most content, the one which is realized and which is really, you can feel the virtual, you can only see, you cannot feel, or just the doodles, which were only sketches or beginnings of ideas. So what I wanted exactly to do maybe is to show a little bit, the big gap which there is between an idea and a realization. That's all I can talk about, or what I can say about it for the moment. So how long have we been talking? 20 minutes or something? Yeah. Oh, that's very short. That's very short, no?
That's okay, but maybe you can say something about the picture we see.
For the pictures I see. This is a series of work. I like to work in series. Why I like to work in series, and I like to combine series. If you work in a series, there is not the unicum, there is not the one. You make variations on one thing. And if you combine it with another series, there are two different kind of tribes, I call it. It's a tribe of a series of one and tribes, and they come together, and it's the combination which makes a kind of a threesome, or even more. It becomes a different kind. It becomes even more than two together, and that's what I like. So these are little plants and little. It's a photo series which is quite old, I think. I think I showed it at the Galerie Nelson in Paris years ago. And it's all about imaginatio, suspendo mio. I think my work is a lot about authorship all the time. Yeah. Okay. Simon, yeah, I mean, normally it was programmed for 3 hours, but that was normally for an hour, but I cannot even fill an hour. Excuse me for that. I'm sorry for, but that's okay. Then you can go out for a walk. Okay, Simon?
Est-ce que c'est une bonne sculpture, celle-là, qui correspond à ce que vous attendez, de cette transformation plutôt
This is a
récente?
reenactment of a very famous piece by our Marcel Brotars.
Est-ce que c'est une bonne sculpture, celle-là, qui correspond à ce que vous attendez?
Oui,
De cette
oui,
transformation
on
plutôt
t'attend.
qui va de l'abandon de l'appropriation à cette nouvelle version d'une certaine figuration, pourrait-on dire?
Ah. Miaou, miaou.
Vous croyez?
Miaou, miaou.
Cependant, cette matière rappelle quand même nettement la sculpture que l'on faisait au moment de la postmodernité.
Miaou, miaou.
Êtes-vous certain que ce n'est pas un nouvel académisme?
Miaou.
Oui, mais s'il s'agit d'audace, il s'agit tout de même d'audace contestable. Il s'agit tout de même d'un marché. Mais que feront les gens qui ont acheté les choses précédentes? Vont-ils les revendre? Ou bien continueront-ils? Que pensez-vous? Parce qu'en ce moment, beaucoup d'artistes se posent la question. Alors, fermez les musées! Ceci n'est pas une pipe. Ceci est une pipe. Ceci n'est pas une pipe. Ceci est une pipe. Ceci n'est pas une pipe. Ceci est une pipe. Ceci n'est pas une pipe. Ceci est une pipe. Ceci n'est pas une pipe.
Il est bien. Miaou.
Ceci n'est pas une pipe.
Miaou.
Ceci est une pipe.
Miaou.
Ceci n'est pas une pipe.
Fini. Ah, miaou. Miaou. Miaou.
Ceci est une pipe.
Miauw. Dat duurt wel, hè, Simon. Miauw.
Ceci n'est pas une pipe.
Miauw.
Ceci est une pipe.
Miauw.
Ceci est une pipe.
Miauw.
Ceci n'est pas une pipe.
Miauw.
Ceci est une pipe.
Miauw.
Ceci n'est pas une pipe.
Miauw.
Ceci est une pipe.
Miauw.
Ceci n'est pas une pipe.
Miauw. Fini? Ah, fini. Voilà. Est-ce qu'il y a des questions? Zijn er vragen? Er waren geen vragen. Goed daar. Geen vragen. Oké, ja, het was een beetje kort. Maar enfin, Ik ben er zaterdag op. I'm Saturdays. I'm in the exhibition, so then there is even more questions. But so it's better to see the exhibition, of course.